Hi friends, it's Brenda Yoder here at Life Beyond the Picket Fence, and I'm going to take a quick break today from doing Raising Godly Kids in an Ungodly World to share some housekeeping hacks for you if you are a busy mom. And this comes on the heels of a friend of mine who threw out there on Facebook the other day about how do working moms do some of these things with young kids. So I just wanted to pull a few tips out of my book that was released last year, Balance, Busyness, and Not Doing It All. And I'm right here in chapter 12 on managing your house so it works for you. So some simple principles, Mom, if you are busy and you've got kids and they're either in school, in daycare, running around, or you work from home and your kids are underneath your feet. One of the first principles I want to share with you today is to make your house work for you, for your current stage of life. In other words, your kids are at a certain phase and your needs are going to be different than they are from your friends' needs or from the needs that you'll have in a few years, or perhaps the needs that you had even before your life kind of changed, whether it's with a new baby or that you went back to work or you're working full-time now instead of part-time. So some simple examples is to look around and see what are your greatest needs. I know when my kids were toddlers and I had kids in grade school and I was working, one of my needs was that I needed to be able to have spaces where they could work and play while I was in the kitchen, because when you're working, really about the only time you're home, you're in the kitchen. It seems like you're making supper, you don't have a lot of time in other parts of the house. It's kind of like the kids' bedrooms, your bedroom, and the kitchen. So there was a time where we moved kind of our workspace for kids with homework and then also bins for toys in our dining room. It wasn't ideal. It's not really what I wanted, but we put, there's a ton of decorative storage pieces out there now that you can buy really cheap at Dollar General, Walmart, Target, where you can store those organizing items, and then you can have toys in different bins, and you could buy a cheap shelf to put them on, that you can pull out, put those things on the table while the kids are doing homework and you're making supper or cleaning up dishes and the kids are playing around you, so that you're spending time with them, and then when they're done you just put those things away in a way that when you wake up you don't see chaos. For me, what's real important is that when I look around quickly, that I just see order. It doesn't have to be clean, but if things aren't orderly, I kind of get some anxiety. Some other things is to quickly just declutter. So for me, when my kids were younger especially, and even now as they're older, it seems like when they're older, you've got things like book bags, gym bags, shoes, things that clutter up all these areas, is once you put them down to bed and just a few minutes before you go to bed, take about 5 minutes and declutter. Just walk through the house, pick up a few toys, put them in the bins, so that 5 minutes here and there takes out kind of this overwhelming, oh, it's going to take me 30 minutes to clean up this space. Simple things such as just decluttering, picking up. We had storage bins that were decorative baskets. I think I had a lot of really cheap large baskets that I stored a lot of things in over time. And so those are things that just help. I'm going to flip my camera here just so that you can see one of my storage spaces just for an example. So over there in the corner, I've got some red bins that I think I purchased for $5 at Target one time. That has stored a lot of different things. There's my basket full of blankets. Nothing kind of irritates me more than when there's a lot of blankets around. So at my stage in life, I have more time to be able to have order in different places, but I can tell you honestly that those red storage bins have stored toys, they have stored videos, they have stored a lot of different things. Right now they're storing books. So I just encourage you to declutter when you can, to make your space work for you. Think about, what do you need right now? What is your top priority that causes you stress with housekeeping or home management? I don't like the word housekeeping. We're not keeping a house, you're managing a house. One other tip that I would give too is to don't hesitate to hire out things that perhaps you can afford because you are running a home business or because you are working full-time. prioritize those things. So if I know for myself personally, there have been times where I have hired what I can afford, which means perhaps it's just once a month that you hire someone to come in for 2 hours and clean your floors and dust. For me, that's been the most recent hire. Again, I've got a lot of wood floors in our house. This is kind of my space where I out and do some of my writing. But we've got a lot of wood floors, and dusting is the one thing that I just don't take time to do. I don't like taking the time to do. And when I was working full-time outside of home with in-home daycare here, I would also just ask our babysitter to do light loads of laundry during the week. And of course, just doing simple things like unloading the dishwasher or something like that. So if you are a busy mom, especially approaching the holidays, think practically for you right now, what are your most essential needs? And then prioritize those things. Spend a few minutes just thinking, what would be helpful for me? And probably the fourth tip I would just encourage you with is don't shoot for perfection. Don't compare yourself to those pictures on Instagram or on Pinterest. Please, 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 please don't. Because those things aren't in your house. And if you spend all of your time making your space look perfect, you're missing life as it passes you by. And I know this is easier for those of us who are moms at a different phase of life where we don't have a lot of little ones underneath us to say, oh, don't worry about it, spend time with your kids. But the reality is you really do need certain things to be in place. You really need things to be orderly because you do feel stressed out. So stop for a few minutes, write down some things. What are your biggest needs? What are how can you prioritize those? And then what are simple things, inexpensive things that you can do to help you with those? And I just encourage you, if you haven't gotten my book called Balance, Busyness and Not Doing All, I actually have a whole chapter, two big chapters on managing your home so it works for you, and how to let's see, what's the next one? Keeping order without losing your mind. And they actually have questions in the chapter that you can look through and really assess for yourself, what are the things that I need and how can I implement those things in ways that personally work for me. So thanks for joining me here at Life Beyond the Picket Fence. Brenda Yoder, Life, Faith, and Parenting Beyond the Storybook Image. You can join my blog for blog posts about life, faith, and parenting beyond the storybook image at brendayoder.com. Join me on Instagram at Brenda Yoder Speaks, on Twitter, Brenda Yoder LMHC. And if you would like for me to bring, actually this is a whole retreat that I do for moms that actually walks through the spiritual, the big picture in the life balance, but also practical. We have a whole session just on home management for busy moms. I would love to bring that to your mom group or to your group of women. A lot of different ways I can be flexible with that. So you can email me at brenda@brendayoder.com or yoderbl@gmail.com. Thanks so much for joining me today, and have a great day.